Hey YouTube, this is Gregory Nelson. Welcome to What Did I Just Watch? Episode 4. We did it. This is a YouTube series where I show my favorite wrestling matches to my favorite people, who are specifically non-wrestling fans. We'll be covering matches that go to the absolute limit and see how they create drama, tell a story, and keep those viewers wanting more. Before we get into today's interview, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and if you really want to show your dedication, you'll click that little bell icon so you never miss an episode. My guest today is Emily Laverdiere. Emily is a good friend of mine. We've known each other forever. We've been on stage together, and we're notorious for crushing it at office bar trivia. I'm going to give Emily 60 seconds to cut a little promo and tell you a little bit about herself. Emily, the floor is yours.
Hey, internet. My name is Emily Laverdiere. I often go by MLav. By day, I'm a concierge, and by night, I was a performer. But no thanks, pandemic. I was performing with a group called Catalyst Comedy. We did 3 different musical improv shows. Lately, my performing has been on Twitch. I'm in a bi-weekly show called Sleepover on Saturday nights, and I'm in a weekly show on Thursday nights called Quarantine Action Wrestling. So while I may not be an avid regular wrestling fan, I myself wrestle. So you can check that out on Twitch on Thursday nights on the 2MB Studios page.
Fantastic. All of that info will be in the description below. Check it out. It's pretty crazy. When Emily agreed to do the show, I knew I wanted to get real weird with it. Emily and I will be discussing the first ever final deletion match between Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. I sent Emily a short video package introducing her to Matt and Jeff Hardy earlier today. Emily, can you give us a quick rundown of what I sent you?
So I watched a compilation of their greatest ladder moments, I guess, because that's kind of their thing, yeah? They're like ladder matches in particular is their, not necessarily gimmick, but yeah, like it's been like the arc of their career.
I'd say it's kind of their gimmick.
Yeah, all right. In that case, it's their gimmick.
Throughout their time in WWE, they used ladders to pretty much personify their characters. Matt Hardy did some fun stuff on his own, but Jeff Hardy was always kind of the ladder guy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. They were just what a gimmick though. It's like being like a couple of fucking like painting contractors that will kick your ass and throw you off a ladder. Like I'm there. I was there for it.
They were glorified stuntmen, if you ask me.
Yeah, they were doing some stuff like Olympic diving off the top and slamming someone to a point where it crushed the ladder that was already on the ground. Like what?
The specific link I sent Emily will be in the description below. Make sure you check it out. I specifically wanted to get into this match because it shows what 2 guys who have used things like ladders to personify their career. I wanted to show you what they're like outside of WWE and what happens when they're given full control of their entire storyline. Emily, are you ready?
I can't wait.
This match is actually available on YouTube. The link is in the description below. We're going to watch it now, and you should too. We'll be back in a bit to see what Emily thinks. And we are back. Emily, I would love to hear your opening thoughts on this little piece of art I decided to show you.
Gregory. Sweet Gregory. I know you said that you were gonna pull out all the stops for this.
I was gonna get real weird with it.
I don't even think weird can properly describe what the ever-loving fuck I just saw with my eyes. So much happened. I'm changed. I'm a changed person.
Well, that's what I'm trying to accomplish on this show.
You're doing it, man. I've seen some wrestling. Like I'm not totally impure here, but I know nothing of this particular saga really. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna hit you with my like blow by blow reaction to like everything, and then I'll ask questions later.
You first started this match. Were you surprised that the match was not taking place in an arena with fans around?
Uh, it was certainly a surprise, to say the least. There was an arena eventually, but it seemed to be a found arena, as it were, to use a theatrical term.
And the other question I have for you is, did you ever expect this to start with a birthday party?
Certainly not. Um, a first birthday party, no less. What was the kid's name? Maxwell?
Maxwell. So we have Matt Hardy, his wife Rebby, their son Maxwell, and Rebby's father, Senor Benjamin.
Senor Benjamin. I felt a connection to him right off the bat. I was like, oh, he seems like a good guy. He seems like, yeah, like it's like the rational person in this scenario. I don't know. His wife seemed also like fairly rational, but also like in on the crazy because she's married to this fucking Matt with his the faces. First of all, like his like dead eyes, but also like trying to emote at the like magnificent, a xylophone. What even? what and what accent is he trying to do? Because when he was speaking Spanish, it was obviously just like poorly accented, like English person Spanish. But when his normal speaking voice didn't necessarily sound American, it didn't sound like any kind of speaking voice.
He's speaking as if he's been broken, Emily.
That tracks now, knowing that.
So the character you were introduced to is called Broken Matt Hardy.
Okay.
In which, due to a broken family, he just completely loses it. The like the little goatee and like the the blonde streak
Cruella
was all part of it. Yes. Weirdly enough, this match took place with Impact Wrestling and was their main attraction at the time.
I can see the appeal. It's very dramatic. Sidebar question about the Cruella: was that kind of planted for dramatic effect, or would you say that was like half au naturel?
I think he was just feeling it one day when his wife had some spare dye and decided to do it. He still hasn't gotten rid of it, and I think it's red now.
Ooh.
Before we get any further, this match is what they like to call a cinematic match.
That is the perfect thing to describe it as.
It's actually inspired other cinematic matches outside of this company too. WWE has done 3 or 4 of them, especially during the COVID era. So this past year at WrestleMania, AJ Styles fought The Undertaker in a boneyard match, which took place on an old farm, and it took him like 6 hours to shoot.
That's impressive. Wow. So this match that we saw has been like the groundbreaking match for cinematic wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much.
As we go forward, Matt Hardy's gift to his son Maxwell is to restore honor to the Hardy name by deleting his brother Jeff.
First of all, what a shitty fucking birthday gift. That kid doesn't care. The kid didn't even care about the fucking xylophone, let alone, oh, son, I'm going to kill your uncle in some sort of reverse Lion King situation. Like, kid doesn't fucking care. He probably can barely say the word dada, let alone revenge. Like, chill, dude.
Matt goes to Senor Benjamin and asks him to prepare the battlefield for massacre.
Which is, it's kind of when I had my first inkling that, at first I figured, oh yeah, Senor Benjamin, prepare the ring, but he was preparing so much more.
We will get to that.
Okay.
And that's where it fades to Jeff Hardy fixing up the lawn in his swirly, hooky, shitty art.
I mean, it looks very tattooy if you're into just like vague designs. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of cool. I was like, oh, what a fascinating landscape.
I guess you could say it's similar to like the type of tattoos that people just go out for the sake of getting a tattoo to get.
Yeah, like the thoughtless tattoos. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
thoughtless and meaningless. Yeah, what a thing to have all over your lawn.
So after a rough morning of landscaping duty, Jeff goes inside. He sits down with a guitar and plays us some nice melodies.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear the doorbell ring. And Emily, what's at the door?
Oh, Gregory. Why, it was not one drone, but several drones, which were thwarted down by the lovely guitar that was previously playing melodies, now being used as a weapon of defense.
Not necessarily drones. They are referred to as aerial assault robots, if you will.
Well, yeah, I did kind of notice they had that whole honing in on you a la Predator vibe. So,
And this army of drones is led by Vanguard 1. Vanguard 1 projects an image of broken Matt Hardy, and he says, "Everything ends tonight. Brother Nero, it's over." So Jeff Hardy then gets on a dirt bike and chases down Vanguard 1. And that actually brings us to one of the best shots throughout this whole thing. It's where Jeff Hardy's distracted chasing down Vanguard 1, and then Matt Hardy decides to get on a riding mower and destroy his brother's art.
I literally wrote down my natural reaction to that. I was just like, no landscape.
I mean, one artist doesn't like seeing another artist get their, art destroyed.
Yeah, it's emotional. It's painful.
So we return to see Senor Benjamin preparing the battlefield for massacre. And Emily, can you tell us a few things he's preparing for this battle?
Well, it seems as though Senor Benjamin has brought an array of materials to this found ring in the middle of a field. He seemed to be digging a ditch, which I assumed at that point was not so much a metaphorical grave, but perhaps a literal grave. I saw some sticks. I did see a ladder, which I assumed would be present. Fireworks, sir, which in the small handful of wrestling matches that I've seen, fireworks have not been a central element of wrestling in my experience.
Last time I checked, they're normally used, during the entrances.
Oh, sure.
Never as a weapon. I guess what you can say here is they're more or less prepared for a backyard wrestling match two brothers would have at age 8.
Yep.
While their parents aren't home.
They get in so much trouble.
We see Senor Benjamin digging a hole, and then Matt comes on screen with a gas can and says, "This is the remaining gasoline from our earlier landscaping escapades."
What grand escapades did we have? Assaulting the alleged artwork of my soon-to-be dead brother.
It takes a lot of fuel to delete a brother Nero.
Man, someone get that guy to the Globe Theater. Like, what a profound performance.
Oh my God, he should play the fool in every Shakespeare play.
Honestly, he'd make a killing. A killing.
And then he delivers one more line saying, "Dusk is approaching, the final deletion is upon us." The screen cuts to black, and then our next shot is a referee driving in a car arriving at the Hardy compound.
He doesn't seem to know what the fuck he's getting into. Similarly to myself before watching this match. I really felt for the poor referee.
A ring is set up. There's tiki torches. It's dimly lit. He gets in the ring, and Matt Hardy gets in his face and says, "You are the man I saw in my premonition." And that he has one job tonight, to count the pinfall or record the submission. Brother Nero must be deleted and you must not resuscitate.
Do not resuscitate one of Andy Bernard's possible tattoos.
The one thing we did not mention is that as the referee is approaching this ring in the middle of nowhere, Matt is in the ring playing a violin, a very creepy melody.
First of all, he's not fucking friends with Stradivari. That was garbage violin playing, and Stradivari would be furious to have had one of his fine instruments sullied.
And that actually brings us to Matt saying he must summon Brother Nero by playing his violin even more.
Is he only like channeled like via music? Like why?
I couldn't tell you that one.
Because then he's like, you came. Like, yeah, of course he did.
So both men are in the ring and the bell rings. Did you notice the fact that it was a church bell and not your traditional wrestling bell?
I loved that. I thought it set a mood and an aesthetic so perfectly.
So the bell rings, the bell gongs, if you will.
I will.
And in the beginning, it's a normal wrestling match for like 2 or 3 minutes. They're just whipping each other back and forth, beating the crap out of each other. Each guy is getting a little bit of offensive in until Jeff introduces a weapon into the match. Not a chair, not a kendo stick, but a lattice fence.
I don't even think I noticed that when the arena was being set up. So when it just came out of nowhere, I was like, what?
It's another detail similar to backyard wrestling that just like you have what you have and you're going to use it in the match.
Oh yeah, found items. I get it.
Things in the match turn around. Matt hits the twist of fate, which is followed by another great shot with the torch in the foreground and our competitors in the background as he's trying to get a pinfall.
It was pretty beautiful.
Matt then brings an extension ladder into the mix. It's a Hardy versus Hardy match. I wasn't surprised. We're going to see some ladders.
I was like a little nervous that we weren't going to see any at all, but they didn't disappoint.
Again, another favorite part of this match. Matt gets Jeff into the corner. He holds the ladder up to his neck, screaming, "Delete! Delete! Delete!"
I feel like every time I see a ladder now, I'm just going to be so compelled to grab it and just like start shouting delete and whatever I wish to thrust it at.
Emily, as you are one of my friends who does not watch wrestling traditionally, my friends who do watch wrestling traditionally will send me a picture of a ladder if it's just in their hallway at work saying, "I challenge thee." So speaking of climbing ladders, he lays his brother onto a ladder and climbs a tree. This is literally two brothers just goofing off on this land they own.
Yep.
So Jeff climbs the tree looking to hit a swanton bomb on Matt. He misses and his head and shoulders hit the ladder.
Yeah, I felt pain.
And then they teased it earlier and we get to see it now. The match just turns into two brothers shooting Roman candles at each other. Matt lights a Roman candle and Jeff defends himself with a trash can lid. My brother and I literally did this when we were kids. And it's such an instant reminder of dumb shit my brother and I did as kids.
And how special that must have been for you to see it immortalized in a wrestling match.
Well, I see it happen. I'm just like, oh yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I did this. I guess that's a common thing that brothers do. I don't know. I'm an only child. I don't fucking...
After round one of this Roman candle battle, Matt picks up some sort of scythe and starts looming around the ring saying, "Brother Nero, Brother Nero."
What kind of gardening tool was that? I was trying to like write it down, being like, oh, he's got the Is that a hoe? I don't know. He's got a garden stick.
I think he broke up a little. Oh,
Oh,
what just happened?
ooh.
What just
I don't
happened?
know. Oh god, my lights went out.
Did you just lose
Hey,
power?
apparently, but
Oh
like
my
not
God.
all of it.
Oh my God, it's a first on this show.
Wow, you
This is
should
totally
keep
gonna make
this.
its way in.
You should absolutely keep this. Yeah, I still have internet. That was not the issue. Hmm. Bear with me a moment.
We're gonna take a quick break and come back to you in a bit.
We're live, baby.
I wound up just like dancing and stuff, so I'm gonna do like a speed up version of all my dancing there.
I'm sad I couldn't witness it. I was doing some fuse switching.
So funny.
LOL. Keep it. So dramatic.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna go in there. So Matt is staring through this scythe or whatever, saying, Brother Nero, it's over. And then you see the camera pan over to Jeff Hardy lighting a Roman candle, and Matt's just like, oh shit. And sparks just start flying.
Metaphorically and literally. First of all, like there was more than one Roman candle lying around. Of course, Brother Nero was going to find one.
Oh, of course he's gonna get his hands on some. He's gonna get his in.
Yeah, it's only fair.
So Matt winds up like, instead of running, he decides to hide. And he hides under the dilapidated boat.
A dilapidated boat! How convenient! Anytime I see a dilapidated boat, oh man, my future is so rich now with things I can just exclaim.
The dilapidated boat also reminds me of another thing you do fighting your brother at 8 years old, is that you would hide under something or like a spot that someone would easily find you.
Fair. Okay, so this really is like a brother versus brother match in all aspects. This is beautiful. I love knowing this.
This takes place on their land that they own.
Wow.
So the brothers Hardy continue to fight, and then both Matt and Jeff fall into some water.
They sure do.
And Matt gets out of the water first, and he seems to be alone. He looks to the camera and says, Brother Nero has been flushed. I could not get enough of that one line.
First of all, like, there was hardly any attempt on either of their parts to, like, drown the other. So why did he just so, like, pompously be like, he's underwater, so he must be dead? Fool. That's hubris right there. That is the definition of hubris.
And now, this is where the match takes a turn where you weren't necessarily prepared for this, but whatever. You weren't prepared for any of this.
Nope.
So, emerging from the water comes Jeff Hardy's alter ego, Willow.
Okay.
Attacking Matt with an umbrella. All of this around Willow is the origin of the broken Matt Hardy universe. So
Okay.
Willow was introduced first, and then Matthew became broken.
Okay. Because I was like, who the fuck is that? Why is this thing a threat now? That's not, I don't know. He's probably someone that Matt, like, I thought it was a different wrestler.
I thought I already met all these characters.
Right? God. Oh, there were like, sidebar, there were like commercials happening like in between of like other wrestlers like promoting what Impact, I think it was. Yeah. And I thought that was all part of like the final deletion. And I was like, who the fuck are these people? Oh, it's a commercial.
To anyone who actually watched that footage, Those ads that pop in are not part of the match, but they are so funny.
Oh, they were outstanding. I'm kind of sad that they didn't make an appearance, but I get that this is like a brother match.
So Willow attacks Matt with an umbrella, and the two are just struggling back and forth. And then Senor Benjamin just steps in with a stun gun and shocks Willow.
That was like we didn't see that weapon laid out beforehand. That was a wild card.
I don't think I've ever seen a stun gun in a wrestling match before, so that was a first for me the first time I saw this match.
Have there been stun guns since?
Actually, to correct myself, I might have seen stun guns in old school WCW, but that was during the Vince Russo era, so I don't think that counts. You probably won't understand that reference, but maybe some of our listeners will. To continue this match, Matt keeps looking to see where Willow went, because as soon as Willow was shocked by that stun gun, Matt was by himself. He lets out one more, Brother Nero, and then he finds Willow knocked out and summons the official to count the pin. Matt gets on top of him, the referee counts to 3, and then Matt removes the mask, but it's not Brother Nero. It's Senor Benjamin.
Twist! Senor Benjamin! I literally shouted out, I was like, Senor Benjamin, no! I didn't even know him and I miss him.
He's captured your heart in the past 18 minutes.
Right? Like he caught me quick and fast.
So the match must continue. Brother Nero returns in his full form. Willow's gone, bringing us to that dirt pile that Senor Benjamin was preparing. Jeff gets Matt in a chokehold, and then there's this shot of Jeff just staring up to a big piece of his shitty art with a ladder propped up against it. So, yeah, he's gonna climb it. And then this is where the whole story comes full circle. There's this montage of his wife, Rebby, handing Matt the candle from their son's birthday cake, and Matt lights the gasoline he told Senor Benjamin to place there, and all of Jeff's shitty art bursts into flames, and Jeff falls 30-ish feet down to the ground. It's just craziness.
I know that it was said earlier that like gasoline has been poured, but I could no longer suspend my disbelief when a fucking number one candle, a birthday candle, those things can barely stay lit when they are like still on a cake, and it's like handed to him, and with all that movement like that, there's no fucking way like that a candle would like sustain, like I refuse to believe it. It would not sustain its light long enough to make that pass off.
Have you considered that like not all is necessarily just in this universe?
Yes. Just now I have decided to consider this. This was just my initial reaction. Oh, I'll go along for the ride, but yeah, that I don't know, that one just pulled me out for a second.
After Jeff takes a serious fall to the ground, Matt secures the pinfall, and then it just kind of ends. Yeah. It just fades to black at that point. And for someone to watch something like that and not be confused after would be troubling.
Yeah. It is the only emotion that one should experience. I'm a little less confused, but still confused.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they finished whatever beef they have going on, but at the same time, guys, what the fuck? Since we've wrapped up this match, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm certainly not upset having experienced that blindly. if anything, I'm more intrigued to dig deeper and catch up on the brothers, boys. I wanna put together the rest of the pieces that I was missing before watching that masterpiece.
I prefer to refer to them as the Brothers Hardy.
The brothers Hardy.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, wow, Greg, you got me. I was
Well,
like, yeah, wrestling's ridiculous. Like, this will be. Nope, you got me.
well, it's funny too because I decided just this morning which one to show you. I was ping-ponging back and forth between this and something else, but I decided to go with this.
I cannot thank you enough.
You're welcome. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. That being said, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, click the bell. It's all helpful. It helps with the algorithm and everything. Check out my action figure videos. I've been posting those every other day or so. Thanks again to my friend Emily for being on the show. Finally, I don't want to be doing this forever. I want to get back to work. So stay safe, stay home. If you go out, wear a mask, vote on November 3rd. Don't be a dick. And just support each other. Thanks again for watching and take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Take care now. Bye-bye then.